Welcome back to the Jesse Rucinski show. Happy Friday. Hopefully, you woke up and you feel more alive than I do still right now. This stuff isn't even helping, but I'm trying. And I will say that I believe it was called Archive 81 on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Just don't watch it on night when you have to wake up way too early the next morning because it'll suck you in and you'll be up and you'll turn around. It's after midnight. And then, well, here you are now. But good show. So I highly recommend it. Just don't do it on night when you have work the next day, like Hannah did. And today, yeah, I'm sure everyone's seen it. Everyone's, obviously had to have heard about it by now. Like we're finally back to Russia, Russia, Russia. After we heard it for so many years, except this time, this is like for real. Unlike the last time that we heard nothing but Russia, Russia, Russia for years, nonstop, incessantly, even when it was disproven. But Russia right now, they are amassing a quite large force when it comes to the area around Ukraine, which another funny thing, isn't it? When you look back on it, Russia, 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 impeachment over a phone call with Ukraine. Don't forget Joe Biden, president announced quid pro quo in Ukraine, and what Russia did in Crimea back in the Obama administration. Like, it's nothing like new here, but it's not good. And anyone that thinks it's going to end good is crazy. Nothing good about any of this. In all actuality, it probably could be really, really bad. And I see probably an invasion, happening just because of the way things are being handled, which I think are egregiously wrong for anyone that's ever, checked up on a military history, that military experience, anything, history in general knows what we're doing right now to try to stop them from what they're doing right now isn't going to deter anything at all. Like that goes without being said. That should kind of be common sense stuff right there, that this doesn't look like it's going to end well. We all saw it coming. We all called it. I mean, at least, half of us did. And here we are. And, it's a crazy, crazy situation that they're doing. And it's been going on, I mean, granted, for forever. It's what Russia does. Not trying to say anything bad, about Russia, because, there's been some good, but I mean, Vladimir Putin, since he got in charge, has pretty much made it very, very clear his intentions for the country and the world as a whole. And, now with what they're doing, I mean, they're moving equipment and all kinds of things, even doing sea exercises and making partnerships with, people that really, really, really don't like us at all. Of people in the streets chanting, death to America. Some of their leaders are even on things like Twitter, which is supposed to be such a nice place, talking about, killing off Jews and death to America. And that's completely fine to have on the platform because, that's not inciting or vile or anything. It shows you where they are. But right now, on top of it all, Russia, I will say, they normally have roughly 35,000 or so, somewhere in that ballpark of troops permanently stationed near the border. And, that happens with a lot of countries, really. I mean, look at all, just us, for example, look at all the bases we have, near our borders, both with Canada and Mexico down there. I mean, there's lots of bases and everything down there. So that's, a normal thing. I'm not trying to, say that them having that there is crazy, but they're building up around all of that, which, can be very detrimental, but they are permanently there. And again, that's kind of a normal thing. I mean, everyone has, military assets near borders, inside of a certain distance for, defensive stuff. Very rarely anymore do we see it get used for destructive stuff. Just the world we're in, it's never anything really big. I don't like the way this is, going. And I mean, Russia really is saying, like, here we are, like, do something about it, because I mean, even the, defense, minister, their military guys are releasing photos of military units on their way to a training site in Rostov, which again, near the Ukrainian border. And some of them come from like 4,000 miles away, which is, I mean, if you've seen the size of Russia, that is a very, very far, far ways away. They have an estimated, troop number of around 120,000 in the area as of right now. I've seen, reports that there could be up to 175,000 troops there within the coming weeks. But I mean, right now, 120,000 ish. There's no official number. Like, that is a lot of troops for people saying that they're not doing anything. And, it's a third of available military battle groups, the capabilities that they have there, which, again, that's just reports, but that's not good at all. And there's also been reporting that there's about 15 or so thousand Russian separatists in the Luhansk and Donetsk regions in, near the Ukraine, to help, with all of it. And they can keep saying that all this is just, training stuff, or however the hell they want to spin it. But that many troops moving people from that far away, tanks, artillery, ammunition, armored vehicles, rocket systems, aircrafts, anti-air stuff. I mean, they have all kinds of stuff there. And they're only building up more, which is why I'm still mesmerized how many people like aren't getting it. And there's several thousand troops in Belarus and equipment that are there. And the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, Kiev, whatever you want to pronounce the thing. But it's less than 100 miles from the Belarus border. And Russia's doing, joint military exercises with Belarus right there, whose president, leader, whatever you want to call him, but Alexander Lukashenko supports Putin. And they also, like, in this military exercise, I'll put air quotes around that, like, that's what they're obviously saying it is, because they're not going to go and say, yeah, we're invading. Like, who actually does that? And anyone that thinks that they're saying they're not going to do it because they're saying they're not going to do it, I don't even have words for that, really. Like, that's unfathomably thick. I think it's a good way to put it. Horrifically dense, slightly irregular. I mean, there's a lot of words you could use, but I mean, them doing all of that, and they keep just announcing deployment of more and more and more equipment to Belarus, to include, Su-35 fighter planes, defense, again, rocket defense systems, munitions, medical support. Now, again, if they are doing, big training stuff, lots of people jointly, I mean, there's going to be medical stuff there too, but like rocket defense stuff and all of that is just, a weird sign. And again, like I said, there could be up to 175,000 troops, reports, they could get to that in the coming weeks, which again would not surprise me, just with how many they normally have there and just how much stuff, whether it's troops, planes, tanks, like everything they have moved there is nuts. Now, granted, also in all this intel that everyone's getting, reports coming from all over different agencies, that they don't seem to have a lot of medical, supplies and equipment, hospitals and all this stuff like with them right now, which, is a good thing, unless they have it all packed up and just hidden somewhere. I mean, that could very well be the case. It's not like anyone really has eyes in there. They're just going off of satellite imagery and, the intelligence they have. which does, help at least get a lot. When a country's saying one thing, you could be like, well, a satellite imagery says another thing, which is always good to have. But if they're going to do a full out anything, I mean, the medical people have to be there. But again, they're expecting, possibly another 50 plus thousand troops to get there. So it could still be well on its way. And the amount of artillery and everything they have there, I mean, can do serious damage. There's, could be splinter cells of people in there that are Russian, like just to carry out an attack on Russian assets, just so it looks like an attack, so they could, use that to be a reason to invade. Like there's all kinds of crazy, shady stuff that could happen and very well will happen just because, well, look who we're dealing with. And again, I'm not saying it in any crazy, conspiracy theory way. I just, from my experience, my readings, trainings, whatever the hell, all of it, like none of this is good. And they're also building up at sea and doing sea exercises, holding, naval drills from the Atlantic all the way to the Pacific, includes 140 ships and support vessels, 60 aircraft, 10,000 personnel. And they have 6 naval vessels that have the capability of landing main battle tanks, personnel, and armored vehicles that pass through the English Channel on their way to exercises in the Mediterranean. There's no reported, anyway, at least anyone has any intel as of an hour ago. At least everything I looked at, no one knows where exactly it's going to go. It's going to the Black Sea. Are they using it as possibly like a diversionary tactic where they have all of that and the capabilities like up here, make it look like something's happening there so they can attack that? Like, and it could just be exercises, but again, there's all that troops and just all of this happening that makes that, really hard for any of us to, again, know anything about it. It makes it very hard for us to believe. At least it makes it hard for me to believe, just, from history, which loves to repeat itself, sadly, because no one learns anything. It just keeps happening over and over again. Wish that it wouldn't, but, it's the world we live in, sadly. And it just doesn't look good. And because, Belarus is there with them, we know they do, China, Iran, like people that really don't like us, bad actors, are involved in a lot of this stuff. And that makes everything more complicated just because everyone's capabilities and the amount of troops and everything that could happen there. And anyone with a brain knows we're not ready for that, especially with the idiots in charge right now. No offense to anyone that likes the idiots in charge right now. That wouldn't be good, any of it. And, we got to worry about that. We also got to worry about other things like, our allies in the area, like Germany. I mean, look how much oil they get and everything from Russia. So, like, what if, something pops off? Like, who do they support? I'm pretty sure it's like 54% or something, over 50% of the oil and everything comes from Russia, which, it always, has. And that's one of the big problems with, during World War II and everything, because Hitler was Germany was getting a lot of their resources from Russia to keep, feeding the machine until things went weird there. And Germany still has to get a lot of their energy from Russia. But what happens if, do they starve themselves out and go with us and not get like those resources that they need for their people and, for everything everything, oil, as much as people hate it, really is the lifeblood of the world. But what do they do in that situation? Like, we have a lot of people in the area. Like, what do they do? Just because of the whole axis of power and everything out there. It's really, really, a terrifying thought in the big picture. So, I'm not hoping for war at all. I don't think, who really like needs that? But if the hand is forced, we have no choice. And the only way to, stop the crazies like the Putins and the Xis, who I might add is still flying all kinds of military aircraft and all kinds of displays of power over Taiwan. Even with the Olympics getting ready to start, they're still doing whatever the hell they want. That keeps escalating, which again won't end well. And a lot of this probably has to do with Afghanistan. Again, look how bad that went. Now look at the Ukraine thing. Look how much China's been all over Taiwan since then, flying all over. I mean, like really, that set the tone for what we would do. And I'm mesmerized that once again, people in Ukraine are getting told to get out by our own State Department, but then also, being told that they can't help them get out. We have like everyone at this point had to have seen the releases of them saying stuff like that again. Just mesmerizing that we're here talking about it again, less than I guess 5 months later. Like that's just mind boggling to me to have this just keep happening. And it's really because they know they probably get away with it, just because like we're going like this is happening around the world, and our intelligence is missing everything, and we're going after like white rage and political extremists and stuff out of the military, and worrying about making it all inclusive and all that, which lowers standards, which makes everything worse, which we don't need in this situation, which is another reason why they're probably doing it. And it's not going to end well. And even with all of this stuff, like you don't even really have to pay attention to notice any of this stuff. Like there's still people out there that I talk to. And I was just, people that don't like to talk politics. And I said, this Russia thing, like it's got me feeling the way. It doesn't look good. And they respond with, our president's doing exactly what a president should do. And how like the people can still that are like supporting him could be like that delusional, like after this much has happened and now we're having deja vu this quick, that you still support him like unequivocally, like even though all of this is happening, like everything we said would happen. Middle East done. Russia and China do whatever they want. Yeah, they are. Like and there's people that still support it so crazily and say he's doing exactly what he should do. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but sure, it's not just me, but this is not exactly what a president should be doing, in my opinion. Sorry. We're going to sanction, Russia more, economic sanctions, and possibly sanction Putin. Well, look how much. I mean, someone did pull sanctions off of him when they got into office, but that's another story. Someone did green light the pipeline, which helped give them more power. It's not up and running yet, but did do that. Like all kinds of things to help them. And like, no offense, but we're going to put sanctions on the country and possibly him if he does something. So he's already sanctioned. He keeps building up with those sanctions. Even with you threatening, if he does anything with more sanctions, he's still doing more, which is obviously proving it's not deterring anything whatsoever. It doesn't take, much of a brain to obviously notice that, threaten the man all you want. He doesn't care. Like I've been keeping track of Putin and all their stuff for years and years and years. And a lot of the people that talk about this stuff haven't been. They just talk about whatever the talking heads tell them to, and they don't get to any of this. And like, sorry, but sanctioning him isn't going to stop anything, obviously. And this is not what a president should be doing. Like a president should actually be doing something, not just like this is very reminiscent. There's a lot of the same characters, obviously, as the Obama administration when President Biden was just the vice president. And, he kept doing that red line thing. And every time someone would cross the red line, they just moved the red line instead of doing anything about it, which is why a lot of things got to where they were, which, again, it's right there in front of your eyes, but for some reason people don't want to believe it or anything. Like, I just don't understand. But like, this is not how you deal with it. This has never worked. I mean, look at all the wars. There's sanction. Yeah, right. Watch this. It never does anything, yet people are still all over it. And I just don't understand how people could say that, president's doing exactly what a president should do. Like, this is not what a president should do, especially after Afghanistan and everything else that just happened fresh in our minds. least all of us that, give a damn and didn't just move on to the next thing, which is what, they tried to condition everyone to do. It's not the right thing to do, but it's what they try to condition people to do. Like it's just like deja vu all over again. Like you can get out, but we can't help you. Oh, we'll do something after this. Like it's just so many times we've seen this just in the last decade, and here we are doing it again. Yeah, I just I gave some analogies. It's like knowing someone's completely housed, and there's a very good chance that they could kill themselves or others driving drunk and say, screw it, I'll just deal with it tomorrow, let them drive. Or when someone's going to shoot up a school and not doing anything to stop them until after the fact and dealing with it after the blood and all that already happened. I don't like making shooting school analogies, but it's pretty much what this is. Like it's way too late after the fact. Blood is already shed. People have died, and you're waiting for him to do anything before you do anything. Like you should sanction him now if you're going to do sanctions to, put the pressure on him now before he does anything. Because once he's in there, he goes, I have an odd feeling. We all have an odd feeling. Most of us like that understand anything. No, I'm not going to stop. We're going to sanction you after that. If he's going to go, he's going to go. Like you don't tell the people your plan. Like, here's what I'm going to do if you do this. Like, okay, well, deal with it. Like, it was kind of like 2020. Don't remember what month, but I'm sure a lot of you remember it, where I got into an argument with Drew when there was reports, stuff getting leaked from, I'm guessing Shifty, about, Russia possibly putting, contracts on U.S. service members' heads, and the mainstream media just jumped all over and spewed it, even though, there was conflicting reports from all the intelligence agencies. No one actually confirmed anything, but they went and they just blew it up and threw it out there. And I was getting, yelled at saying that he's not doing anything. You have to confirm these things. Like when they're not even getting together on this, the intelligence agencies, means it's not confirmed, which means now if they were doing that, they're really going to be doing it. And if they weren't doing it, now they have an idea, which puts just so many more people in danger when you just go out there and be like, just jump, it's kind of the same thing to me, at least. Yeah, just people that don't know what they're talking about. Oh, do this, now he's doing nothing, and it's like you can't have it both ways. Like stories like that, you don't do it unless it's confirmed. You also don't go into a situation which could very well be war and tell the enemy exactly what you're going to do if they do this, this, and this, but do it after the fact. It's just, it'd be like, getting into a bad accident, barrel rolling your car, and then putting your seatbelt on after you're done rolling if you weren't wearing it. Like, it just makes absolutely zero sense. And the analogies are rolling somehow. Those two of those I just came up with now. So pat myself on the back for that one, because my brain really isn't going that well. But I don't know. Like that many, just everything. And people that say he's doing everything he can, like, no, like you don't. And again, anyone on here military, like you don't give them your playbook. Hey, well, we're going to do this to the enemy. Very well. I mean, like we've ever really gotten along the greatest throughout history. There are some good patches. It's not nearly as good now, but doing nothing until they do something, like reacting to it when you can try to jump ahead of it and stop it from happening altogether, and people saying that's right. It's just, I don't know. It's absurd. I think that's a good word for it. It's a really good word for it, actually. I just, call me crazy, call me whatever you want, but I'm pretty positive I'm right on this one. And you really have to be nuts, like nuts. And it's just unfathomable, really, the level of everything that people fall into and don't understand. And even with all the reports coming from, again, multiple agencies, like here abroad, like agencies. I'm not talking about like papers. I'm talking like agencies reporting, stuff. And here's what they know. And it's all out there. I mean, but who moves advanced fighter planes to Belarus and, air defense systems, all that stuff, like that close to, the capital and all that. Like, I can see training, but why would you bring missile defense? Like it's and that many troops over there and still moving more and having like, there's just so much weird. And it's like blatant and right in your face. And I don't know. I can't understand how people don't get it. And it's clear as day. Like, again, I could just be a crazy rambling man, which I don't think I'm doing, today, miraculously. But this isn't good. And anyone that thinks this is good and everything is going right is actually like crazy, crazy. The history, Putin's track record, like all of it, and anything throughout any history says this is like not a good way to go about it and not the good thing. So we'll see. I'm not, again, said it before, I'm not hoping for war, but 9 times out of 10, I go into something expecting the absolute worst, but hoping for the best. And 9 times out of 10, I'm right where it's the absolute worst. So then, you have to hope for the best to come out of it then. But these crazy actors have been emboldened, like North Korea with their missile stuff, the Iranians talking about getting back into the nuke deal, which is dumpster fire because they never stopped doing anything. Just like North Korea, all those times we gave them billions of taxpayer dollars, they didn't do anything. China, like there's just so many bad actors and we're not really doing anything about it. And it's going to be a pretty scary world. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but I just don't see this, situation, all this stuff ending very well. But again, I could hope I'm wrong. I just got one of those deep, dark feelings that I'm not. So we'll see. Hope for the best, expect the worst. And then when the worst happens, just expect, hope for the best outcome you can. So that's that. I'm going to go after that. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate, you following along, watching, all the support. Please share it out all over the place. And don't forget that if you are watching, listening to this from the Facebook page, all the archives are on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, Apple and Google Podcast, Stitcher, Overcast, Radio Public, Pocket Casts. Like they are Rumble, Cloud, Rumble. Rumble has them all as well, videos. All the others have the audio except for the first one, which I don't understand why, but something weird happened. But they're all there. So please go back and listen to them all. There's some good stuff, and you can hear the growth in it all coming around. There's some, great topics that you might have missed out on back then, but they are all there. I officially went through and titled them all, so now everything has a title. How about that? And but that I really do appreciate the support. And please, after you listen to them, share them out. Always share them out. Look on the page again. Tuesdays and Fridays, there's always new episodes, and then every day I try to throw an old episode on there for a throwback, and for everyone, get their eyes on and ears on that stuff in case they missed it, because I think there were some good topics in there as well. It's just, they've gotten a lot crazier over the last 5 months or so. It's just pure insanity. So I'm going to go enjoy your weekend as good as you can. If you're down here in Carolinas with me, watch out. The whole world's going to shut down again. Calling for snow tomorrow morning. So that should be fun after a lot of rain allegedly today. So should be a nice situation tomorrow. But if you're in one of those situations or up in Maine or anything, stay safe no matter where you are. Enjoy your weekend. Watch the Royal Rumble if you're a wrestling fan tomorrow night. Peacock. A lot of people have Peacock. It's good stuff. And I'll be back Tuesday though to see how this all goes. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please follow along on all the socials and the platforms. Share it out. I appreciate y'all. I really, really do. Thanks for everything. And let's keep getting this thing growing. I enjoy doing it. If you ever want to come on, also let me know. I haven't done a Sunday sit down in a while. So Enjoy your weekend. Be good to each other, and peace.